Ladies and gentlemen, friends, we're here this evening to celebrate Shakespeare and his sonnets. Sonnets of love and death. Sit back, revere, rebel, enjoy yourselves. Okay. It all began in Italy, like so much of European culture. To be more precise, the sonnet was invented in the 12th century in Sicily. But it was the sonnets of Dante and Petrarca that set the fashion for the rest of Europe in the late 14th century. England caught up a bit late. At the court of Henry VIII, however, the fashion for sonnet writing spread like wildfire. Everyone was at it, and not just for one or two poems, but particularly in the Elizabethan period, they wrote sonnet sequences, entire series, such as Sidney's Astrophel and Stella, Spenser's Amoretti. These were virtuoso performances of verbal skill, cramming into 14 brief lines with their demanding rhyme scheme, a world of ideas and experience. Usually, the subject was pastoral, idealized love for a woman. And these poems were written to be published and read by a small, sophisticated, admiring audience. Shakespeare's sonnets are not like these at all.
It was a lover and his lass with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, that o'er the green cornfield did pass in the springtime, the only pretty rain time, when birds do sing hey ding-a-ding-ding, 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 sweet lovers love the spring. Between the acres of the rye, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, those pretty country folks would lie in the springtime, the only pretty ring time, when birds do sing hey ding-a-ding-ding, 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 sweet lovers love the spring. This carol they began that hour, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, how that life is but a flower in springtime, the only pretty ring time, when birds do sing hey ding-a-ding-ding, 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 sweet lovers love the spring. And therefore take the present time with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no, for love is crowned with the prime in springtime, the only pretty ring time, when birds do sing hey ding-a-ding-ding, 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 sweet lovers love the spring.
First of all, most of Shakespeare's sonnets are not about a lover and his lass, but about a lover and his lad. Only 27 of the 154 sonnets are addressed to his mistress, the so-called Dark Lady of the Sonnets. The rest are addressed to his fair friend, or lovely boy. This has caused general embarrassment among editors who've attempted to explain away the homosexual passion by calling it intense friendship, or, in one instance, by changing the gender of the lover in all the offending poems. Now, who were these people the great writer had fallen in love with? Nobody knows. though there has been much speculation and much spilling of ink. These poems are wreathed in mystery. It's not even certain that Shakespeare wanted the sonnets published when they came out in 1609, 7 years before his death. Because, unlike other sonnet sequences, these are not formal exercises for public admiration, but the private expression of love in all its moods. Exultant, tormented, doubtful, jealous, and adoring.
And would I change that note to which fond love hath charmed me, long, long to sing by rote, fancying that harmed me. But when this thought doth come, love is the perfect sum of all delight. I have no other choice, either for pen or voice, to sing or write. Oh, love, they wrong thee much, to say thy sweet is bitter, when thy sweet fruit is such as nothing can be sweeter. Fair house of joy and bliss, where truest pleasure is, I do adore thee. I know thee what thou art, I serve thee with my heart, and fall before thee, and fall before thee.
The story seems to have gone something like this. Though, like almost everything else about these remarkable poems, there is no certainty. Shakespeare was commissioned, perhaps by the father, to write some sonnets to a handsome young man who was reluctant to marry and beget children. The poet dutifully began a sonnet sequence on that subject.
When 40 winters shall besiege thy brow, and dig deep trenches in thy beauty's field, thy youth's proud livery, so gazed on now, will be a tottered weed, of small worth held. Then, being asked where all thy beauty lies, where all the treasure of thy lusty days, to say within thine own deep sunken eyes were an all-eating shame and thriftless praise. How much more praise deserved thy beauty's use, if thou could answer, this fair child of mine shall sum my count and make my old excuse, proving his beauty by succession thine. This were to be new made when thou art old, and see thy warm blood when thou feel'st it cold.
Look in thy glass, and tell the face thou viewest, now is the time that face should form another, whose fresh repair, if now thou not renewest, thou dost beguile the world, unbless some mother. For where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? Or who is he so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of her prime. So thou, through windows of thine age, shalt see, despite of wrinkles, this thy golden time. But if thou live remembered not to be, die single, and thine image dies with thee.